Hello everybody, it is Friday the 15th of August and let's try this again. I want to talk about levels of density and dying from lack of knowledge. Now, I don't know if this actually works outside of Britain because words, especially when you go from Britain to America, words don't always have the same meaning. But here in Britain, it works a treat. If you call somebody dense, or you say somebody is a bit dense, that actually means he's stupid. Slow on the uptake. If you come across a person and you're trying to explain to them something over and over again and they're not getting it, you would say he's a bit dense. Yeah? So every time I hear people joyfully proclaiming they're going to new levels of density, yep. They do not choose words accidentally. Yeah? So whoever came up with this term density, I'm sitting here wondering whether that was somebody's idea of a sick joke. Because it really is. It is that. It is a sick joke. Anyway, and I want to show you how you are getting increasingly dense, as in stupid, as in ignorant, as in not knowing and not getting it. I watched John St. Julian again and again. I nearly flipped. And he said, we should follow the Christ. We should follow Jesus, the denial of self, and to rejoice in suffering. We should rejoice in suffering. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. If you suffer, that means you're going to a higher level of enlightenment. No, you don't. No, you don't. Suffering tells you there's something wrong. And you should not rejoice in something being wrong. Yeah? Again, that is, whoever rejoices in something being wrong is not an enlightened being. Yeah? They're not. Again, that is as dense as you can get. There is a prayer, a mealtime prayer, that actually really sums it up. And that is, for what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly grateful. For what we are about to receive, we should be grateful. Not for the shit we're in. Because that is prayer. No, it is a desire. Repentance is the desire for a change. The acknowledgement that something is wrong. And again, you suppress the messengers that tell you there is something wrong, like fear, like anger, like sadness. They are telling you there is something wrong. That is your truth. That is the truth within you. They are the bringers of truth. There is something wrong which should move you. They should move you into repentance, into the desire for a change. And then comes prayer. Know that you have received it and it will be yours. And rejoice in what it is you're about to receive, knowing you will receive it. That is prayer. But you should rejoice in the good that is to come, or that you have already received. That is what you should rejoice in. That is what you should be grateful for. Not the blinking suffering. If we have our gratitude and everything placed in the place of suffering, we are not going to the state of prayer. We are not going into a change. We're staying in suffering and rejoicing in it. That's nuts. Creator is all. Creator is the yin and the yang. Creator is the lion and the lamb. Creator is both, all of the polarities, all of the opposites. They're all him. And the fact that the yin and the yang and the lion and the lamb are lying side by side inside of you, there is no contradiction in that. There is no conflict in that. There is purpose in that. They fulfill a different purpose. Between the lion and the lamb, you have the fullness. But they are both part of the fullness. You do away with parts of yourself, you do away with the parts of the Creator. You are denying the Creator, proclaiming that only, the higher vibrations are him. Nothing exists that is not him. Yeah, and the lower vibration are not the absence of a higher vibration. They're not. They're two distinct different things that are lying side by side, that are part of the same thing. One is not the absence of the other. So, lower vibrations, fear, anger, sadness, the messengers that tell you that there is something wrong and that push you toward repentance, toward the desire for a change. That is their function. And I keep saying it, don't blame Satan for being morose. That is their function. That function is to tell you that there is something wrong. They will not bring you tidings of comfort and joy. That is not their job. They are what they are, and they will do what they do. And it is good. It is there to save you. That knowledge is there to save you. And if you do not have that knowledge, you will die from the lack of that knowledge. You will sit there with a spaced out grin on your face, proclaiming that everything is love, and you will die from the lack of knowledge that evil even exists, that there is something wrong, and you will sit there grinning until whatever is wrong will come and bulldoze over you. The way of Jesus, the way of denial of self, exactly that, the denial of the lower nature, is to bring people onto the knowledge of his Father. The truth of him is revealed in the book of the Revelation. That is a predator. New Jerusalem is a predator. The angels will come and slaughter. It is full on destruction of this world. That teaching is creating a prey, a lamb, that will go to its own destruction without murmuring, as Jesus did. He went without murmuring. He was the perfect sacrifice. He was the perfect lamb. Well, as it stands, not only will the lambs go without murmuring, they're going to go rejoicing at their own destruction. Because that is the lunacy we have come to now. We have denied ourselves to a point where we will rejoice in our own destruction. And we sure as hell are dying from lack of knowledge, from the lack of the truth, from denying our own truth. Creator is all. The white light contains all the colors of the rainbow. All the colors. Every shade. Not just one. That is the truth of the Creator. And all the colors belong to the same rainbow, and the rainbow is not trying to rip itself apart because it is judging some colors of the spectrum as being evil. That's lunacy. That is denial of self. That is the way of Jesus. That will create a prey. That will joyfully go into its own destruction. Can we snap out of it and acknowledge ourselves in our fullness? Now, last thing I want to say in this is I'm trying to go the way of prayer. And it is extremely hard. And it is going beyond the physical, obviously is going beyond the physical, which is extremely hard. And I have to keep reminding myself that the spiritual is a reality in this world. We can see it. We hear about it. It's happening all around us. It is happening in our own lives in small bits where we can glimpse things shifting that were not done in the physical. But I mean, in this world, we know about healings. We know about what we call the supernatural. It is real. It is a part of this reality. It is an extension. It is an extended reality from the physical to the spiritual. Doesn't mean the physical doesn't exist. They are both parts of the same being. And it's not a case of doing away with one to have the other. Two parts that belong together probably can only work if they are together, I would say. But the fact is, and here's the fact, and that is why we should not let go of the physical. Absolutely not. Not if we want to survive and thrive in being the best version of ourselves. Then we're both. For a prayer, for the spiritual to work, again, it says in the Bible, more than one in my name, in the name of an intention, I would say. But the fact is, they must all be on the same level. Yeah? They must be in agreement. They must be on the same level of knowing. So know you have received it and it will be yours. Everybody there must know that. They must all be on the same level. Otherwise it will not work. Whoever is on a different level will create a blockage. So that's the first thing. So it can only work if people are on the same level. But you can move things on that level, coming together, moving things on that level, which I think we should do. But you mustn't lose hold of the fact that there are other beings in this world that are not on that level. They will not see it. They will not understand it. Their ignorance will go up against you. Especially if they are driven by something like the church that has just declared you to, or us to be witches and wizards and demon possessed or whatever. The ignorant will come up against you. That's what happened to the mystery schools. The ignorant beast went up against them and slaughtered them. So the spiritual has probably absolutely no effect on them because they won't let it in. It has to be let in for those that will receive of it, for those that it will work, and they will have to let it in. And the ignorant are closed. So you can sit there praying until you're black and blue in the face. They will not, it will not move them because they will not let it in. And then I would say even if you are on a higher level of understanding, if some of us will reach that level and can work on that level and can exist on that level, we must not forget the physical, because we may need it against ignorance, because then it will be the only way that we can defend ourselves. Those that are on the carnal level can only be dealt with on the carnal level. So we must never forget that level. And that is not only in this world. I would say again, if you look at the book of the Revelation, New Jerusalem is not a place of enlightenment. Yeah? The angels are coming to slaughter. That is not enlightened. That's a predator. That is a low consciousness predator. Again, you sitting there praying, denying that it, and that anything is wrong, shooting the messenger is not going to change the situation. So again, at that point, we might have to remember that we are physical beings, because that may be the only thing that will work. Amongst each other, healing, stuff like that, yes, it can work if we're all on the same level. Against them, no. I wouldn't think so. That is why we must be the fullness of ourselves, the fullness of our truth. The lower level, the higher level. The knowledge of bad, the knowledge of good. The physical and the spiritual. There is no conflict in that both exist in the same being. That is the fullness of us. That is the fullness of our truth. There is no conflict in that. They serve different purposes. They will move different things. And being both will give us more options that we might need. So stop denying things about yourself. See how they are good. See what they should serve, and be that. Be the opposites. They are not darkness and light, as in good and bad. They serve different purposes, and the fact that both exist, there is no contradiction, there is no conflict in that. Let the lion and the lamb lie beside each other inside of you, and whoever you need, whatever aspect of yourself you need, be that. And be that without guilt, and be that without shame. Just stand in your truth. That is who I am. Yeah? There's more than one aspect to it. I am a multidimensional being. There's more than one aspect to me. They're all my truth. Whatever you have driven away to make it your shadow, bring it back and let it serve you. Incorporate the shadow. Carl Jung. Incorporate the shadow. Become a full being again. The full spectrum of yourself. And stop doing away with yourself. Doing away with the lower nature is doing away with knowledge. You will die from the lack of that knowledge. You will die from the lack of that knowledge. From the lack of the knowledge that evil exists. Does love take you out of fear? Yes, absolutely it does. Fear tells you there is danger. Love can only see good. It is an aspect of yourself through which you see an aspect of the world outside of you. And in love, you can only see what is good. Then no, there is no fear, because you cannot see and you're blind to anything else but that which is good. And again, you have reached a very high level of density. You are about as dense as you can get. You are as ignorant as you can get. Because you have blocked out reality, most of reality. Can we please get off those high levels of density? Get back to the truth? Here, folks, I leave it at that for today. We need to acknowledge ourselves. We need to acknowledge the fullness of the rainbow that is within us. And there is no conflict in all those colors being there. There's no conflict in the lion and the lamb, the yin and the yang being part of the same being. That is the fullness of the being. That is the fullness of the truth. And we need to be that. Lower nature, higher nature, physical, spiritual, all part of the same thing. Be the fullness and stand in your truth. And that is the way we will survive. Truth will set us free. Truth will lead us to thrive. The levels of density that we're going to at the moment will lead to our destruction. And that is because the kingdom of Jesus, the kingdom to which he went, the kingdom that was revealed in the book of the Revelation, is a predator. And the teaching is creating a prey that will rejoice in its own destruction and call it enlightenment. Think about that. And rethink yourself. It's time we did rethink ourselves. Anyway, I will leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.